All right, let's talk about their intrusion tactics. Zero-day exploits. Brand new, never seen before, so we don't have any signatures for it. So it goes through the conventional security or defense in depth pretty easily because it's new, right? We've seen this as a monitoring company. We see this kind of behavior, and a behavioral approach is the only defense. So we can see that kind of stuff. Emails are always a good delivery mechanism. Fortunately, with spear phishing, whaling is when they go after just the top dogs, the admins, the sheriffs, the mayors of the city, right, and use their credentials, because oftentimes we have access to more than we need, and we're not functionally locking it down by areas.
Yeah, whaling is a subset of spear phishing. Spear phishing can go after the IT guy, for example, other important people. Even they might even target an employee they just happen to be able to get some information on to begin with, right?
And then they want to link that or take their email and get you to give them, and not the person you want it to be, but the actual bad guy, your email, right, or password.
Yeah, imagine they get anybody in your organization to double click on something, then they might have a foothold on that machine, and then they can pivot from there.
Yeah. Or if they can trick you through the email to click the malicious link or attachment, right? Also, code injection. This is really scary when we look at pictures and receive files from people. Might be part of our job, right? So in public safety, we really have to come up with a better answer for that. We've got a couple of good ones that we'll present later. Files and backdoor malware, right? Anything that can hide it would. And when we receive things like, I don't know, DocuSign, I get 3 a day now. It's all bogus, right? I haven't talked to Sky Kitchens yet.
The worst of these are frequently DocuSign, Amazon, the ones that you just look at that are auto-generated anyway, that make you want to click the link because, oh yeah, I want to see where my order is. I want to see what my tracking number is for this. And it's just so easy to just not even think about it and click on it.
And they look really good. They're really well designed, and they're using AI to correct the grammar. So it's a lot more compelling than it used to be.
Yeah, that's why I always tell people, just don't click on links and emails anymore. If you can avoid it. Like, if you know who it is and you're expecting it, that's one thing, but
call them and check.
Your default should not be to click on it.
A chief of one of the Northeast states sent me what was a proposal document. And instead of clicking it, I called them. I said, I didn't expect this. I called them and they said, oh, click it. I said, I did not. I work for a cybersecurity company. I'm not going to click something, even if it's a proposal for cybersecurity, right? Because they were targeting us. Anyway, it happens. Stolen VPN credentials. This we're seeing a lot more. They're really farming out there. They're looking for it. They're trying to find places that you might save it on a compromised system or have used it before and it was compromised then, and so they use it again.
By the way, for stolen VPN credentials, most of the time, it's not certificates that they're stealing. It's passwords and usernames, right?
Or they're guessing them, right? They're finding ways to knock on that door so many times and then using brute force, which just means they're guessing millions of times over. This is where machine learning comes in really handy, right? Because it can do it a ton of times and it can try new things until it gets in. How do we defend it? Well, one, we make sure they can't find the door, right? So you can't knock on it if you can't find it. And then we watch it. We understand that they've been banging on that door. Let's change the lock. Let's change the VPNs. Let's up our game.
I like that. Yeah, and I think I like to look at brute force as something, ideally it's futile, right? Because you have multi-factor, so they can try all they want to get your password. If you have a second factor, what good is it going to do them? What they've done is alert you to their presence. Yeah. So if anything, these brute force attempts, they should not be as successful as they are, in my opinion. We should be using it against
But it's still the oldest way. It still works. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Command and control, absolutely. Once they get in, they want to control so that they can do something, especially APTs, if they're stealthy enough to sit there and then later do something when we don't want them to, right? So we got to find them. So detection is really key there. Network vulnerabilities always, right? Especially when you combine them with 0-day and other things, right? New things we weren't aware are vulnerable have been, and now we discovered it, like the SQL injection with MoveIt. That's a good example. Application vulnerabilities, once again, SQL injection with MoveIt, right? Because you have a secure file system, or the actually underlying application was vulnerable to injecting an error, and that's really what the SQL does, right? It really is that database, and then they are able to trick that database into giving them access. That's it. So Log4j is another one. You know, we have to be really aware of those kind. Unsecured IoTs. Yes, we have lots of things we plugged into the network to the tune of 70 billion devices on the planet with an IP address, about 10% of which are owned within the first year of operation. 7 billion devices that are potentially hacked that we then buy from eBay and plug into our network because we want to watch the back door with the camera, and we save $20. Not such a good idea. and we've seen those used. And evasion, right? They're hiding. They're getting better at flying below the radar.